Thanks for joining. Today we're going to do a mini Yin Yoga class to promote better sleep. And we're going to start in an easy seated pose, meditation seat. Grab a blanket. If you don't have one of the woven blankets, any throw blanket will do. And fold it up so it's maybe a couple of inches thick and sit just on the edge. Legs can be crossed. You can sit back on the heels if you'd like. Before we get started, make sure you have a block, or if you don't have one of these blocks, any simple pool noodle or small throw pillow will do. But easy seated pose. If you need to lie down on your back because your knees are bothering you today, that's fine too, but close the eyes. Sit up a little taller, relax the shoulders, and we'll just start with some breath work to transition us into this mini yoga practice to promote sleep. You can find a focus point in front of you if you're uncomfortable with your eyes closed. And start taking deeper breaths. Deep breaths in through the nose, out through the nose. Relax the tailbone down. Relax the shoulders. Maybe start with a little bit of core strength to support the spine. And then relax the face also. Relax the jaw and the eyes. And take about 10 deep breaths here. Deep breaths in, long exhales out. Start to make the exhales even longer than the inhales. And do some reflection on your day. Can we find the positive in our day? That's a great meditation, is keeping the positive focus of anything good and everything good that happened today. About 6 more breaths here. Deep breaths in, long exhales out. Try and keep the shoulders away from the ears. Relax the legs as much as possible. 3 more breaths. Inhaling the positive, exhaling anything that you need to let go of for the day. And 1 more deep breath in. Hold it. Pause at the top of the inhale. Try and sip in a little more breath. Hold that. And then exhale, let it all out. Maybe switch which leg is in front. Just do a little seated cat and cow. Inhale, arch the back, shoulders are wide. And then round through the spine, round through the shoulders, and move back and forth, maybe looking over one shoulder and then the other. Just getting a little movement going before we start. So all of these poses that we're doing today are going to work us into a shavasana where you can do your own guided relaxation. So we start by sitting up and we end up lying down on the floor in these Yin Yoga poses. And all Yin Yoga poses last for several minutes. We're trying to lengthen the connective tissues, make some space, make our physical body feel more comfortable for sleep. And then bend the knees, soles of the feet to the earth, and windshield wiper the knees back and forth. So we'll start with these seated poses. There's only a couple of them, maybe 3. And then we'll lie down on the back, do a couple of poses there, end up in this guided relaxation and meditation that you will take control of yourself. And the idea is that we're working our way to a comfortable sleeping position. In Yin Yoga, we want to get rid of all of those pops and cracks and aches that are caused from connective tissue binding up on us and becoming congested. So I'm going to turn sideways a little bit so you can see me. And I want you to drop your knees to the right. It doesn't matter if you come off of your blanket. Drop your knees to the right. Fold over the right knee. And then get some length by reaching that left arm. Maybe find a throw pillow or a blanket that you can lie on. And close the eyes. And I'll be timing all of these poses. So close the eyes or find a focus point. Take a few transition breaths, deep breaths in, long exhales out, and start to settle in. Check in with your body, any tension that you feel in the legs, the hips, the spine, even the hands and feet. Use the exhale to relax those areas. And give yourself some quiet time. Maybe listen to the music that's playing. You can play your own music in the background. Could be ocean sounds even. Something that helps you calm your mind. We'll only be here for a few minutes, but every time you exhale, try and relax a little more. Try and soften down a little more. Let go of all muscle engagement that you can. We're trying to lengthen all of these connective tissues. So all of the stress that you carry in your hips and your shoulders, try and let that go. About another minute or so here. So 6 more breaths on your own. Make the exhales extra long and extra relaxing. Two more breaths. Let go a little more. Maybe let the arms relax a little more. One more deep breath here, and then very slowly, move as slowly as you can. We're slowing down at the end of the day. Bring yourself back up. Rotate your knees up towards the ceiling. Little windshield wiper again, little windshield wiper the legs, especially after a long day. If you've been in a car, if you've been sitting in front of a computer, your shoulders and your hips and your spine are probably super tight, or all the stress that we carry around with us is hanging out right here on the shoulders. So let that stress go. And then we'll take it to the other side. And again, I will angle in a little bit. So drop the knees to the left. I'm actually going to cushion my own ankle on this one. And then you're going to fold over the left knee. So some people call this deer pose. We'll just call it divine twist for this exercise. You're going to fold over the left knee and then walk the hands, especially that right arm. Walk that out so that you get some length. I'm actually going to move my computer over here. You go ahead and settle down in your pose. The reason is it keeps us timed, so we're even on both sides. And once you get into this pose, take a couple of those transition breaths. Deep breaths in, long exhales out. If you need a prop underneath your head, like a pillow or one of those blocks, that is perfectly fine. Make the exhales a little longer. And start scanning your body. Feel where the tension is. Feel where you're holding that. What is achy? What is tight? And use the exhales to try and relax that area of the body. Sounds crazy, sounds yogi-ish, but use the breath, the pranayama, to relax the areas of the body that you're holding onto the stress and tension. The idea is that the farther that we get into this Yin Yoga practice, the easier it is to switch from being in sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, and switching that to a parasympathetic nervous system state. We want to be more relaxed so we sleep better, digest better, heart rate comes down, blood pressure comes down. Over halfway there. So take some quiet time and take 6 more breaths on your own, making the exhales even longer. Two more breaths. Deep breath in, hold it. Maybe a little extra. And then very slowly, you start moving slower and slower as you get farther into the sequence. Rotate the knees up. And again, I'm going to angle myself just a little bit so it's easier to see me. Find that blanket again. Sit on the edge of the blanket. Keep the feet wider than hip width. So hip width is maybe this wide. Everybody's a little different. It's not this wide, ladies. Maybe a little this wide, but you want just a little bit wider. Relax the feet. If you have knee issues, you can roll up a blanket underneath the knees. You're going to take another deep breath in, hold it, and then on your exhale, I want you to round forward. So I give you permission to have bad posture. Round through the spine, round through the shoulders. Get my hair out of the microphone. Relax the feet, relax the arms. Arms can be wherever they're comfortable. Drop the chin to the chest, relax the shoulders away from the ears. And just breathe. Find a focus. Now, we talked about a positive thing that happened during the day that you can focus on. So maybe you stick with that, or maybe you just look at light patterns that are left behind when the eyes are closed. Or imagine the ocean, or the mountains, or the forest, or the desert. Something that keeps your mind focused and your thoughts calm. So the idea of Yin Yoga poses at the end of the day is a letting go, not only physically, but also emotionally, energetically, so that you can clear the mind. Use the meditation and the breath also to clear the mind. So it's easier to fall asleep and maybe stay in a nice sleep pattern. Last 6 breaths. Every time you exhale, you can sink a little more. Get a little closer to the earth. An idea is also you can do this in your own bed. You can have yourself all set up so that you don't have to move after your yoga practice. None of these poses will be standing poses, all seated and reclined. 3 more breaths on your own. One more deep breath in, hold it. And then exhale, let it out. Slowly roll up. Walk the hands up. Have your block handy, or like I said before, you can use a pool noodle or anything that might be a little bit firm, like a small throw pillow. Go ahead and lie down on the back. Lie down on the back. I'm going to move this up here again. Yes, my job is so hard. I have to film myself and move a camera and a computer around a lot. So knees are going to be bent again. Have your block ready. Windshield wiper the legs back and forth. And then maybe bring the knees into the chest and rock side to side so that you can massage out the low back. You can kind of make circles, be very organic about it. That means being natural about it. If you feel any pops and cracks, that's a good thing. That's a whole other video called defixation. I should post that one for you, so maybe at the end you learn about defixation, and these are good things. So, soles of the feet back to the earth. Grab your block, flat side. There's 3 sides on the blocks. So lift the block up enough to place it underneath your low back and your sacrum. So your sacrum is the lower part of the spine. You want it across the back of the hips also. Arms along the side. And you can start with the knees bent, or you can eventually straighten the legs out and relax the feet out to the side like you did in your forward fold. Arms can be along the side, or you can rest the arms above the head, yogi's choice. Close the eyes or find a focus point in the ceiling. And take those transition breaths. A few deep breaths in, pause at the top of the inhale, and then long exhales out. And then start at your toes. I want you to do this on your own, but I'll start you off on it. Start at your toes. Take an inhale, pause at the top of the inhale again, and then on the exhale, relax the feet and the toes. And then move that up to the lower legs, the calves, the shins. And then the upper legs, your thighs, the hamstrings especially. Spend a few moments on the low back and the hips. Relax the hip points down. Take the tension out of the low back. Use the exhale to do that. And then move to the upper back. Maybe wiggle the shoulders away from the ears and spend a couple of moments relaxing the arms and the shoulders, even the hands. Imagine there are sandbags in your hands, keeping them open. And then the back of the neck, the jaw, relax the jaw, make space between the top teeth and the bottom teeth. The eyes, if the eyes are closed, you can bring the gaze to the center of the forehead, or keep your focus point. If your eyes are open, and just kind of let the eyelids relax. Even relax the forehead. And then take note of how you're being held up by the floor, by the bed, your yoga mat. Completely feel supported so that as you exhale and try and relax a little more and let go of a little more muscle tension and muscle engagement, you understand that you're not going anywhere. You're not going to fall. The earth is holding you up. 3 more breaths here. Deep breath in, and then slowly walk the feet back towards the hips. You can leave the block where it's at and maybe just do a little rock back and forth on the block, especially these softer blocks. That's really nice to massage out any knots that you might have in your low back, even into the glutes. And then soles of the feet to the earth, lift the hips up. Remove your block, set it to the side, level out the hips and the sacrum on the floor of the bed, just to relieve a little more tension, physical tension, and the emotional stuff that we tend to hold in our hips, even in our shoulders. And then maybe straighten the legs, or you can windshield wiper the legs again. Just a little bit of movement to kind of get all those kinks out of there. Straighten the legs for just a moment. Take about 3 or 4 breaths, arms along the side. Close the eyes or find your focus point again. Let the legs relax, let the hips relax. 2 more breaths. And then rebend the knees. Last pose, reclined butterfly. So soles of the feet together, knees out wide. I'm gonna kind of move over here a little bit too. Soles of the feet together, knees out wide. Some of you might want to take a block underneath the feet, especially if you have a lot of flexibility in your hips. That will relieve a little more pressure, but that might not be great if you have tight hips. And if you don't want to, in this last pose, be completely concentrating on the fact that you may or may not be uncomfortable. So if you have 2 blocks or 2 throw pillows, those are really great underneath your thighs for support. I'm going to actually leave that one there since I have an issue in my right knee sometimes. Arms can be out wide. Let's face the palms down now. Palms face down for this last pose. Take a couple of deep breaths in, hold them, and then exhale, let it out. Wiggle the shoulders away from the ears. Palms down for a reason. Palms down helps you with grounding, rooting. It's a hippie yoga term. But basically it means that you're connecting with the earth and you're feeling like you are grounded and stable and balanced. You might even imagine there are roots from the back of the body and the hands. And those roots work into the earth. So palms up is wonderful for receiving in certain kinds of meditation, but for these purposes, since we're moving into better sleep patterns and using the Yin Yoga practice to be the last thing that we do before we try and go to sleep, palms down is great. Let's get a little more grounding. So 2 more minutes here. I want you to use your own breath work, your own meditation. Maybe it's just concentrating on counting the exhale. 10 more breaths. Keep adding onto the exhale if you can, making it longer. Breathing for 4. One last deep breath in. Breathe in through heart center. Hold that a little longer. Light, positive energy, anything positive that happened today. Let's really concentrate on that. Hold on to that thought. And then on a very long exhale, slowly bring the knees together. Constructive rest. It's a very simple pose. This is it. Bend the knees. Let the low back relax. Let the hips relax into the bed or the earth. Just for a moment, just to relieve a little tension. And then we're going to find Shavasana. I don't know why I had to sing that, but so Shavasana of your choice. My feet are probably out of the shot at this point, but that's okay. So Shavasana of your choice, and that could be on your back, on your side, on your belly. I usually, for these purposes, so my face isn't being muffled or my voice isn't being muffled, I would lay on my belly normally, but for these purposes, I'm going to be lying on my back, any Shavasana of your choice. Close the eyes now if you can. Bring the gaze to the center of the forehead. Find a comfortable position for the arms, for the legs. Move the low back and hips around if you need to. And take a couple of those transition breaths. Deep breaths in, hold the inhale, long exhales out. And the reason I would go to my stomach This comes from my grandma. Keep in mind, she had 6 kids, 19 grandkids, including some steps in there, I think. I'm not sure. Raised a couple sisters maybe at one point. But she always said, if you have a tummy ache or if you need to calm down, lie on your belly. It works for me. There's something about lying face down on my belly that helps me transition into a good sleep pattern. So I still do that to this day. So your choice, yogi. And then let the breath be natural. Easy breath. Let the body take over. And for this last part in your Shavasana, in your guided relaxation, I want you to think about softening and letting go. So scan your own body. Find any leftover tension. And use the breath, or the softening aspect of the breath, to let go. So for example, I feel it a little bit in my low back still. So I'm going to move around a little bit and then really use the idea of softening the low back and letting go. Anything that comes up that might be distracting, it's okay to acknowledge that, even if you have a piece of paper you want to write that down on. But then let it go. Imagine it's floating away, whatever that is that's distracting to you. Soften even more. Let go of anything that's weighing heavy on you, anything that doesn't serve you anymore. Let it go. And take 2 more minutes on your own. 2 more minutes on your own. Stay here as long as you need to. You can always hit pause or listen to your own music if you want to keep that Shavasana going. So I thank you, yogis. Stay grounded, get some good sleep. Namaste.